Hey guys, I'm coming from an evening in the garden. Today was actually Father's Day, so happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there. Especially a happy Father's Day to mine. I love you so much. That was to my husband, not my dad. That'd be weird. I need to harvest a couple things for dinner, and I just thought that since I was dressed and all, I'll take the camera with me. It's an absolutely beautiful, hot, almost summer night. We're coming into almost the longest day of the year, the summer solstice. I'm feeling exceptionally sentimental about it. I'm not really sure why. Probably because this is my favorite season and it always seems to be running from me. Winter takes forever, absolutely forever, and summer seems to fly by, and that just doesn't seem fair. Gotta come check the broccoli because it's got little baby broccoli heads on it. Little baby broccoli. Okay, this one is getting much larger than the other one. I mean, it's still small, but that's almost edible. So I'm seeing a few broccoli starting to head up, which this wasn't what I was going to do, but now that's prompting me to check the cauliflower. Little tiny heads on the cauliflower. Itty bitty tiny. I need to come through and cut. Obviously there's some weeds in this bed, but there's still good stuff in here. There's cauliflower and I put cilantro in between, and I need to come and cut because it's getting really hot, and especially this week is going to be a major heat wave, and now it's scenting up flower stalks, which is perfectly normal, especially for this time of the year. I'm not sure why cilantro goes with all the summer foods, like in your salsa and with tomatoes and peppers, and you know, you think of cilantro, you think of summer. Well, it's actually a cool weather crop. So, in order to have cilantro, you've got to constantly be sowing it, which is also tricky because it's hot inside my greenhouse, and so it doesn't love to germinate when it's this hot. But it does smell lovely. I love cilantro. Cilantro is actually a heavy metal detoxifier, if you didn't know. So it binds to the heavy metals in your system, and that was a weed, and then helps you flush them out. So we should all be eating more cilantro like every day, but even I don't remember to do that. I'm feeling exceptionally garden fairy-ish. Like, this is my homestead dream attire. I made this dress. This was a sheet that I thrifted, by the way, because when you make something, you have to tell others that you made it. But in reality, normally every other day, I just look like Adam Sandler's Hobbit in the garden. Okay, here's the main reason I came out here, is because we're having beef for dinner, and I was out here the other day, and I have zucchini ready. I have this variety of golden squash, and by the way, I call every summer squash zucchini, no matter if it's zucchini or not. I have that. This isn't a good representation because it's small, but I have the regular green zucchini, and my personal favorite, let's see if I can find one. Ooh. This is a green scalloped squash. This variety is called Benning's Green Tint, I believe, and it's delicious. And don't ask me why, but I forgot snips when I came out here. Even though I knew what I was doing, I'm going to get, this is like the most tender size. Obviously they get much, much larger than this, but then the seeds get developed in the middle, and then you have to like cut around those and scoop them out. This, however, is the perfect size because, ooh, hello little What are you? That was a weird bug. I lost my train of thought. Hello. I think I was saying this is the perfect size because the seeds aren't developed yet, and so easy peasy. There is nothing like some fried zucchini on the Blackstone. And by fried, I just mean sauteed, but oh, I'm so excited. I may not have brought a basket like I was supposed to, but I sewed some good pockets in this dress, so fear not. Because every good farm dress has pockets. Ooh, cracker. Obviously witching hour for the calf. You know how like when you have small children, they always get a little crazier before bedtime? The little calf Faith is also doing that. It's funny. This hot wire is not on. You can see her touching it. But this little part of our property is my most favorite. I think that it looks magical back here. The sun, this is the west, and the sun sets over here, and it just touches the tops of the grass and everything down here in ways that I can never capture on a camera. But just trust me, it's my favorite part. Super duper late. Not really. I keep saying that, but I could sow corn all the way up until mid-July and still have a good crop. But I just got my first round of corn in this plastic because this is a new bed, a new long bed. I think I'm going to plant my melons over there so all the viney things have room to vine. I still haven't planted the two main things. No, there's more than two. I need to get my ground cherries in. They're ready to be planted any day. And I can now because look at this, you guys. I have irrigation, so I have water. So I can be planting them. What else? Okra. I still haven't planted my okra. Definitely need to get that in the ground. And melons. Need to get those in. But generally, you have so much more time than you think that you do. This isn't good. I bought onion sets this year because I panicked because I didn't have good germination for whatever reason on my onions. I started from seed, and I see something that's no bueno. See this? That is an onion. It's sending up a flower stalk. It's trying to go to seed. Now, I'm not going to let it, or it's not going to affect the bulb right now, although I'll have to do some research to see if it will still bulb up because these are relatively young. I picked it off. I'll chop this up with our dinner and it'll be delicious. But now this onion isn't going to store well, and I purposely picked storage onions so that I could store them for a long time. So if every onion is going to do that, that's not gonna be good. But I do have a few onions that I started from seed. This row is the leeks. They're still very small, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get a leek harvest this year, which is really exciting. And then towards the end are all the onions that I grew from seed. They're still small and they're all planted like multi-sown. And then you look over here to the onions that I planted from sets, and probably this heat wave is sending up their flower stalk. I'm not going to go through and pull them all off though, because I think that I will start harvesting those relatively soon and just use them in the CSA boxes as green onions. That's what I was going to do anyway, because I ended up with like literally thousands, and I don't have that many customers, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4 full rows, 50-foot rows of onions, and they're all multi-sown with at least 2, if not 3 or 4 onions in each. So I've got plenty of onions. I'm not going to worry about it. Although I really do love storing my onions. In fact, this year I literally just ran out of onions in April from a harvest that I had in August. So that was pretty cool. And I wanted to do even more so I can never run out, because we eat like an onion a day at least when we have it. These are all of my heirloom. I'm going to use this to point with. These are all of my heirloom tomatoes that I just got in not that long ago. Once again, later than anticipated, but I have a tunnel over there, 100-foot tunnel, almost 100, I think it's 95, with like 300 and some tomato plants. But these are all my special ones, and I bet you can know what if you're a tomato person, you'll know what this is without even looking at the tag. Look at how many blooms this is. So this tomato with all of the lovely blossoms, do you have any idea what it could be? Any guesses before I tell you? It's Barry's Crazy Cherry. And as this plant grows, it's only like 1.5 feet tall right now, maybe 2 feet. I'm not good at judging. That's actually a small cluster. As it gets bigger, it could have like 50 plus blooms in one single fruit cluster, which is pretty cool. This is my heirloom tomato patch, so these are like all of my personal favorites. I tried to plant at least 2 of everything, just in case one failed. I would have another one, because seed saving is really important to me, and I like to save seeds. So I knew that I had to plant at least 2 of something, and I'm glad I did for this reason right here. This guy is missing. Something completely tore it out of the hole, and like the whole plant is gone. There's no even sign that it existed at all. And it's one of my favorites, which is Pink Jazz, which makes a huge tomato. Something pulled out this one too. Abe Lincoln. Good thing I have another one of it, because I don't think there's any life left in that poor guy. Probably a raccoon or something. I don't know. What pulls things out of the holes? Believe it or not, I don't know if you could tell in the video, but there's like flies all over this thing. And believe it or not, flies are actually a really good pollinator, if you didn't know. So I will, while they're annoying, I will welcome them. This is, see this giant bush plant? I mean, it's a few different plants. It's not just one. But I started this from seed last year from Baker Creek. It's labeled perennial chamomile, and it's called Kelway Golden. And it has these beautiful sunshine yellow blossoms. You know what it smells like though? a mum. It's not like chamomile at all, which is somewhat disappointing because mums have a very different smell than chamomile, and I don't like the smell of mums or marigolds. So that's a bummer, but I will tell you it's a ravenous perennial. I mean, last year it was pretty big, but it was not this big. And the pollinators really like it, so that's fine. On accident and on purpose, because I always deal with squash bugs. They're the worst. Them and the cucumber beetles. God, why did you put these here? I don't like them. They're ruining my life. For one of the things that I did to remedy that is I covered all of my squash plantings with this insect netting, but really it's like a roll of tulle. Because as a crafty person, I was like, you know what insect netting looks a lot like? Tulle. And so I just bought a cheap roll of that and it worked great. And so, but when the plants started flowering, I had to take them off. Or I had to take the insect net off. But that gave my plants a chance to get up, get thriving, get producing before the squash bugs knock them out. Do I think that it will 100% I won't have to deal with squash bugs? Unfortunately, no. I'm pretty sure they're going to be here at some point, but I haven't seen any outside yet. Not going to jinx myself. And you want to check the undersides of your squash leaves. There'll be these like orangish red eggs, and I've been looking and I haven't seen any. Knock on wood. But also in my anti-pest desire is I planted holy basil last year in this plot right here, and I didn't plant it this year. All of these are volunteers, and it smells lovely and it's magical, and I love volunteer plants. It's like free plants. But then when I was planting these squash, I noticed in the holes beside all of this is holy basil. And typically pests don't like to be around very fragrant things. Like onions are a good deterrent. I'm hoping that this holy basil test is going to be a good deterrent, because in between every single one of these is interplanted with holy basil. And maybe, just maybe, that'll hold off the pests long enough for me to get a good harvest. But just in case, I've already seeded, and they're just now popping up, I've already seeded my second round of zucchini. Because I have a CSA and I want to offer it more than for just a couple, 3 weeks until they get knocked out by the bugs. That's my insurance policy, is just to keep sowing things. I meant to dry a lot of the holy basil last year, and I just never got around to it. So I've already got a quart mason jar dried inside, and I hope to keep stockpiling it because I want to add it to my tea regimen, because holy basil is actually so good for you. There's a reason why it's called the holy basil. It's actually a variety called Tulsi, but its nickname is holy basil. It's been used medicinally and ceremoniously. Is that a word? Ceremoniously? For a long, long time, especially over in Asia, I think is where it originated. And the main medicinal qualities that benefit me personally is it's an adaptogen, so it helps you handle stress a little better. There's got to be something in the essential oils of the plant that helps you like woo-saw, and I could use all the woo-saw I could get because I'm easily stressed. So I plan on drying a ton of that to use it in my tea regimen. I haven't actually tried it though, so I hope that I like the flavor, but I saw this popping up, and it's popping up all over the place, and I love it. I'm just going to leave it because this is one of the only foods for monarch butterflies. And so I'm always looking to save our pollinators and help them in any way that I can. It helps because I'm not the typical vegetable farm. Typically, nothing on a vegetable farm is flowering because you're harvesting everything before it wants to set seed and flower. Or very few things. I guess tomatoes and peppers, but luckily for me, I'm also a flower farm, so there's lots of blooms. Lots of flower opportunities for the pollinators, but I love to see them working and doing their magic. I'm looking on the underside of these milkweed. I was having a brain fart. I'm looking on the underside of all of these milkweeds, though, because that's where the real magic is. If I find one, I'll let you know. I do see some eggs on the underside of these leaves, but I think it's some other. I don't think that it's monarch butterfly eggs I'm seeing, because they have a very specific shape. It's like kind of conical. If you get really close, it's actually super beautiful. But I love, and I kind of have like a little tradition with the kids, which we didn't do last year, so I want to do it. We go and hunt for monarch butterfly eggs. Then I buy just like a fabric laundry basket, you know, like with the zipper, like the mesh. And then we hatch out our own monarch butterflies and set them free, and it's magical. But I don't think I see any yet. I am still finding little strawberry stacks. And my kids aren't down here, and I don't have to share. I used to find it much harder than I do now. But I love eating with the seasons because it makes you savor what little time that you have with that food that you love. It makes you savor it even more because you know it's fleeting. I do not buy strawberries at the store very often because they're disgusting. For one, the flavor. For two, they're heavily monocropped, mass-produced, and hydroponically grown, which is not organic, and I don't like it. In fact, while I have you here, let's sneak over and get some black raspberries. Won't be able to stay here very long because it's like the mosquito witching hour, and I am a mosquito magnet, but I can stay for a little bit. Now, I'm not going to find too terribly many because the boys were out picking yesterday. But it's a nice little garden treat. Where is it? I didn't know it. But down here, ooh, for one, which I did know this one because I found it last year. Ooh, look at all the skeeters. This is an American plum tree. These are all little plums. See here? Now, these wild plums aren't like what you buy at the store. They're only like this big. The skin is thicker and the pit is big, but it's still fun. It's good food for wildlife. If I wanted to make something out of it, I very well could. They have already almost all fallen, but I was out here and this tree above me is actually a white mulberry, which I hear is pretty invasive. These little guys, but it's not as tasty as, you know, red mulberry or black mulberry. I don't know technically what it's called. Plus, it's really hard to know when it's ripe because they're white and they barely just turn a little pink. Tinge you. That one had like a bee in it. Okay, I'm done. Anyway, I better go. I'm gonna have to wrap up this video soon because my family is waiting on me to make dinner. And I'm losing daylight out here, but it's just so beautiful. You hear the birds? I am a crazy bird lady. I'll hear a bird sound that I haven't heard before, and I've got to find it. I've got to figure it out. Got to Google it. And then I go through a million bird sounds. Okay, you guys, I think my time is up. This is like a quick little... Actually, I don't know how quick it'll be till I edit, but I just kind of wanted to take you along with me as I walk through the garden because it's magical. I'll show you one more magical thing because, you know, I like a volunteer. This was a salad row from the winter time that started to go to seed, and then I'm just letting it go to seed so that I can collect the seeds and keep this salad row going. So I'm waiting on everything to flower out, but what I didn't expect was all of the volunteer lemon bee balm. One, I love this flower. It looks so whimsical. It has a very herby smell to it. Pollinators absolutely love it. Plus it looks like little Dr. Seuss houses, like they could live on there. But unfortunately, I have to go back to my house and, you know, like make dinner for my family. But thank you guys for hanging out with me on this almost summer night. It's magical. It's muggy. As you can see, I kind of straightened these pieces, but it's already fuzzing out. Me and humidity don't work well together. But I'm gonna enjoy my last little walk back to the house. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time. Is there anything cuter than a little farm kitty? This one's my favorite one, don't tell the others, but he just lets me love him. I don't know if it's a girl or a boy. I know. Is it time to feed you guys? Are you so hungry?